Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday, the 20th of October, 2019. In this episode, we are going to observe that alts are dropping back right now, and we wonder, should you panic at this time with the way altcoins are moving? Of course, this isn't actually trading advice. This is just market observation through a specific group of altcoins that we watch in this episode. Let's jump in and take a look at the big news right now. Of course, this morning in our live stream on Bitcoin, we were talking about this Ichimoku cloud breakout, made a 1-2-3 bottom formation, identified some pretty clear areas in. It broke out. You got to do what your trading plan tells you to do. So this is a beautiful long position out of this descending parallel channel with a 1-2-3 bottom formation at the end. We had all sorts of great indicators, including the Ichimoku cloud setting up this way. But the big worry is what's going on with Bitcoin dominance now. It has broken this really wicked, clear downtrend line. And I think you may, if you were here in the other episodes, we were talking about, can I pull it back far enough here? There we go. We were talking about what went on in the altcoins just in the recent past. And this isn't pulled back far enough, but I won't reload it. What I wanted to talk about here was in April the 1st, we had the Bitcoin dominance change directions. It made a 1-2-3 bottom formation. It broke out higher, really, really important levels as it broke right there, as we all know now. And then right in this period, I was watching for alts to be taking off and going back up again. But we had the 3 touches of death. And the 3 touches of death I've learned this pattern over a long time of trading and having it trading it on the wrong side, and my trade got killed. It was death for my trade. So here we have again the 3 touches of death, and it's breaking this pattern. So even though it's looking so awesome, and I figure it's going to keep going, and it's going to be awesome if it does, once it hits there 3 times and doesn't go through, it's usually the touch of death for that movement. So it looks like we're going to be coming back up, and the big question is, should I panic in all of my alts now? Should I just dump my alts and be into Bitcoin, as Bitcoin looks like it's going to be taking over the show again and blasting up from here? There's no way to know the answer, especially if you're trying to pick one specific coin and find out which coin you should be holding or not holding. But instead, we can find the overall average of the entire market and find out which ones are the ones that are moving and hold a bit of those, and don't hold the ones that are not moving. And so it takes quite a bit of study to cover the entire market, but we've got that covered for you if you want this work in our Bull Market Watch spreadsheet. I'm very happy with the number of people who are signing up for this and joining up over on our website to grab the free training that goes along with it. So I'm just going to go quickly over ADA and the others. And I haven't checked to see if the stream's even working properly. It doesn't appear so. I have a bitch of a time getting this streaming software to actually work. So the chat's not coming up on the side. The viewers, I had to reset it to make it actually work. I don't know. Anyway, this shows me that I am live and we are going somewhere. Let's take a quick look at this in the longer term perspective. We're looking at the 1-day view of ADA. So it never really got into our radar big time because it just floated sideways here. It came down, made a bottom, teased us, and then didn't do much of anything. So any trade in this turned out to be a little bit of noise, and it didn't really go anywhere. BCH ABC, it got kicked out of the contest basically as soon as it broke down below this level here, and it's down below these levels. I thought, okay, you're out until you make a new 1-2-3 and show me some juice. That's it. That's all the trading. That's all I need to do for studying you. This one also, it made a bottom, but it kind of, it didn't really go anywhere, so that we never had a trading signal that was strong on that, and certainly nothing we could add on to. So Ethereum gave us a 1-2-3 bottom formation here, and it's made a move up. Now the question is, what's going on with this? Because we've been watching for a few days now as this top formation set up, and we are watching the divergences in the relative strength index and the MACD indicator, and finally the top is actually easing off, as those were kind of telling us. When we go into the 4-hour time frame, the exponential moving average has crossed over in that time frame, but not in the 12-hour time frame. So is it something to really even worry about yet? Has Bitcoin moved up high enough to shake these alts into a way that we should be worried? Or is this little move here in Bitcoin dominance so small that we shouldn't get our feathers ruffled until we're up into these areas, which would mean that most of the 12-hour exponential moving averages would be very close to crossing over. We'll have to see how this plays out, and I'm keen to study it as we go along here now. So quickly now to continue this route, as we go through these coins on this episode regularly and we dig into them as a study, 1, 2, 3 bottom formation kind of went sideways and it never gave us much of a trading signal. We've been talking about how if and if and it's just gone sideways. So that's all the study I would normally do on a market like that. That's it. It didn't make my formation. I go on, I look for something that is making my formation. And this is why the Patron Bull Market Watch spreadsheet is so awesome, because we go through all of these coins on Binance and we look for which ones are making these formations. There's a lot of coins to go through here and make sure that you're only getting the ones that are good. This tells us, it gives us the data. So it breaks it down. It makes it fast and easy for us to see that we should have been getting into this earlier. And now it's making a potential top formation on the 12-hour time frame. It's still good. The 4-hour time frame starting to get noisy. It's kicking us in and out and in and out. So a break below this level would be a good top formation to be easing back on your position at least. Because we don't know if it's going to top out and keep coming down, or if it's going to make a 50% level retracement and then continue up. We don't know yet, but it doesn't matter if we know or not. If it makes this cross of these EMAs, it's a clear signal for me. Now let's go into Ripple. Is another one that gave us a signal that we could actually have traded. It gave us a move and it pulled its way up. So as we go through the 200 odd markets that we cover on the Bull Market Watch spreadsheet, we started to see some really clear patterns. There was a group of coins, or most all coins made a consolidation in August. Then there were coins that faded back from there in August, after August. And there's a group of coins that, where does August end? Yep, right in here. They came up above these levels. And these are the coins that we've been holding, and now we're watching for them to see if they top out now. So the question we want to answer in this episode is to go into the close range view and see if these are top formations and if we should be pulling back on these or not. ADA. Relative Strength Index. Okay, there's nothing I can do in this market until it breaks up above these levels or breaks down below those levels. So for my own part, if the 4-hour exponent, there's nothing to do in here. It's a very important that you do nothing in this kind of thing. Otherwise, you're jumping in and out, in and out, in and out, and you're jumping on the waves as they're coming up and down the beach. You look like crazy, you know. Instead of waiting for the tide to come in and then just jump on your boat and go for a casual sail, we're panicking on every single wave. So this is an important part of the trading system that I also teach, is which ones to pay your attention and time to and where to cut that out. So you're not spending time looking at charts that are not going to do anything for you. Now, ADA. This is the reason I go through these videos and I look at this stuff in this detail is for the case study of it in the long term. So I'm not doing it for today's data. Today is probably an unimportant day overall, but I never know. And it could be that tomorrow this completely breaks out and I missed it. And I want to record this stuff here today so that tomorrow or a week, a month from now, 6 months from now, I can come back to this specific day and say, what was I thinking? So it's different for me to go through these charts, and we'll take a look at that one in a second. Then what I would do for my own trading, right? Just by doing this live stream, I don't trade this way. I'm recording it for the long-term case study, for that rare day where there is something to record and to see, and that I want to learn from. So when we have little patterns like this set up and it's crossing negative, And we're having this consolidation that could be a trend continuation, and it really could break out and blast up higher than this. I really want to know in advance. I want to learn how these things tell us in advance. So ADA for the Ichimoku cloud, 1, 2, 3 top formation and pulling down out of that. So here's our trend line. Hit along the top, sell signals. This is a sell signal in this down in this Ichimoku. So nothing to do. If you were holding and you see it's crossing, it's making this weakness and it's coming to this top formation, you may want to ease out of some of your position. And what's the next indicator to go through ADA on the 4-hour time frame? Is the Bollinger Band, and it's not clear enough for me. I am still learning this one. It's down below the midline here on the 12-hour time frame. Zoom into the 4-hour time frame. It's at the bottom of this, so could be a place to scoop it at the bottom of the range. It's down below the range, which would indicate for some aficionados for the Bollinger Band, this is a really oversold area, and this would be a swing trade buy entry, looking to get out maybe at the top of this. And it's completely a foreign way for me to trade because it's come out of a 1, 2, 3 top formation and showing weakness. And for me to grab it there, even though it has gone up, it's counterintuitive for me. So this is something I have to observe for a while and see how this plays out. And then maybe in a couple months, I'll be comfortable with thinking about it. You tell me. I'm a Bollinger Band sponge right now, so any kind of information you can give me on BB, I am good. Now Bitcoin Cash did a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and it is sort of getting a little bit of strength. When we zoom right in, it's kind of moving with Bitcoin. Since it gave a little bit of move right up in the initial surges of Bitcoin, I thought, hey, maybe there's something going on here. That if it is mimicking with Bitcoin, I want to pay attention to it. Then it's pulled back. So now my attention is kind of less interested, but it's given us a pretty clear area to pay attention. ADA, let's go on to Bitcoin Cash, and the volume is still crappy. It hasn't picked up into anything good. Let's go on to Bitcoin Cash. I like the MACD divergence going on here. It's a flare out on the 4-hour time frame. The RSI was looking bullish. The short-term Ichimoku is looking bullish. We'll see in a second. It's got a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation on the 4-hour time frame. If it breaks up above these levels, it was matching Bitcoin for a while, so I've turned it into a flag to pay attention to it. We'll see. Bitcoin Cash. So it's pulled back. It was pulling out of this Ichimoku. It's still good for the Ichimoku. It's still holding itself up above these levels. Actually, that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3 bottom, much like we did see in Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout right along these levels. So if it holds itself here and starts to go up more, this is an alternate place to buy into a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout. First is to buy on the actual breakout itself, which usually is harder to do because everybody's on it and so is all of their bots. But then after it's come up and people are panicking, if the market is going to be strong enough, it's going to hold here above this number 2 point. Should it hold there and show some strength, that shows us that it's not a fake out breakout. You know, who knows how long it has to hold. It shows it's not a fake out breakout. You can get your stop loss above your entry and then you can sit back and see what happens. Let's go on to Bitcoin Cash in the Bollinger Band, because it really came out of this bottom, crossed the midline out of this choked very tight neck, and up it went. Really strong and fast, pulled back. So let's see how it goes. Here's an example of touching the bottom of this. It's sticking out at the bottom of it, and it's being a wonderful place to be loading up. Not for me yet. I'll keep sampling the flavors, and I'm sure I'll develop a palette for it. EOS is not as happy with Bitcoin taking off and going up. And it's a top formation that's got a couple big candles to the downside. Somebody's been dumping. And of course, this has been going sideways so that it's like just, okay, drama, you know, and it's not giving us any direction. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, except that yesterday we were looking at this, the zipper of death. And I like that we came in just to look at it, even though I wouldn't be trading it, just for the case study of the zipper of death. I've only seen this a few times, and it's never been good. EOS. Looking at this, it's cross to the negative, flaring to the negative. I wouldn't say that's good. EOS to the Ichimoku cloud. That's not good. This is going down through the cloud on its way selling down. So what does the Bollinger Band say about our good friend EOS? Tightening neck up to the top, wicks to the outside of the Bollinger Band for 3, what is this, hours? 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. On the 4th hour, it hit the same level, and there's a good place to have gone short. 4 times off one level in the 4-hour time frame. 4 times off one level in the... That's a pretty good... I remember an old guy, I don't know how old he was. I remember a long time ago, there was a guy who was talking about his trading method to money or madness. And I thought his method seemed plausible. It seemed interesting. And it was something like that, where when you see 1, 2, 3, 4 hits off of a trend, and he was all into day trading. So it never worked for me. I could never work it. I always overworked it. I overtrade when I try to get into those formations. Ethereum, we already looked at. We see the relative strength index has been in a divergence for a while. We talked about this for days now as it's coming up, saying, hey, that looks like a top formation. Sure enough, it's manifesting out as a top formation. The relative strength index is easing off. Let's go just to quickly through and see the setups here. So it was bullish, less bullish, and now we have some dumping going on as Bitcoin's taking off. So Ethereum versus Bitcoin is not happy. Look at this. The moment Bitcoin is taking off, this is going. But you know what? This is showing us exhaustion candles here that we should pay attention to when we're coming up to a breakout pattern. It's looking like it's running out. Somebody knew before I did that this was going to be taking off, right? They're easing out of their Ethereum already, and then off it goes. There was a guy in our live chat that was just talking about that. Now, let's go into Ethereum, and that looks bad. Right? We've got to cross to the negative. We had this divergence that we've been talking about for days. We pointed out that if this MACD crosses to the negative, it's not good. We're going down. And especially on the 12-hour, we were talking about these crosses. You can see it's still marked out from yesterday's stream, likely. Let's go into Ethereum, the Ichimoku cloud. Sure enough, here's our verification again. This is not likely to hover here. It's probably going to come back a little bit from this formation. It's got some momentum now. And we saw the divergence all setting up. It's awesome to see it setting up and then to see it actually manifest. So I don't know how this works, but the 1, 2, 3 top formation, especially on the 1-hour time frame. So if I zoom out, so we've got, it's wide necked, and then it's getting thin neck, and we've gone through a 1, 2, 3 top formation, gone below the midline of the 12-hour Bollinger Band. Now it's sliding. I would imagine it's going to continue going down from here. And again, the Bollinger Band is turning out to be a swing trader's delight, where I would be going 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's taken off. Oh my God, it's so bullish. It's going to the moon. All of the Bollinger Band guys are going, here, I'll sell that to you. Let's watch that some more. I like it. Litecoin is the next one. And normally it would get about 30 seconds. I've already spent too much time on this chart just now. It's making a formation that I can't do anything with. I'm just observing it now as it's unfolding. So now let's go to Litecoin with the on-balance volume. And you know, it's holding its own a bit better than Ethereum. We've got these 4 hits off this bottom. This is a 3 touches of death set up here. So maybe Litecoin is going to be following along with Bitcoin. It got punched back too as Bitcoin came up, but it's not taking it as badly as we're seeing Ethereum. And even in the volume, it's not as bad. So let's go see what it's going to here. Okay, this isn't as bad here as well. On the 12-hour MACD, it's actually crossed to the positive for Litecoin. But on the 4 hour, it's just crossing to the negative. So again, indecisive. I spent too much time trading already. Litecoin, Ichimoku Cloud. Okay, yeah, it is just sitting in the middle. It could go either direction. There's no way to know. You just have to use your risk control rules as you're fading into that, as it goes one direction or the other. So I don't imagine I'm going to see anything here, except I just want to observe that we are below the midline. We're below the midline, below the midline. If it crosses above the midline, we're golden. If it starts to go down and we're flaring, I want to pay attention to what's going on with this as time unfolds, because it's really tightened up in the 4 hour neck. Really tightened up there. Just check on Bitcoin dominance. Let's go on and finish up our routine. TRX top formation. We saw the divergence setting up. I love to go over this stuff after we've seen it, after we've pointed it out, after we've pointed it out, and then to see it manifesting exactly as we're saying. If it goes higher, we're going. If it crosses these levels, it's important to be stepping back out of the position. So I like to see it unfolding. Let's go to TRX. In the on balance volume, I'll go a little bit wider. So it was giving us some good volume, but it's come down to some negative stuff here now. So again, it wouldn't be surprising for me that this comes back to its 50% level of this move. Really lame. TRX on the 4 hour time frame, cross to the negative, cross to the negative, cross to the negative on a descending trade. Looks negative. And we go into the Ichimoku Cloud. I imagine it's just breaking below the Ichimoku Cloud here on the 1 hour time frame, and we've been watching the 4 hour time frame for last couple days and saying, this was almost crossing positive. It did cross to the positive, but we weren't getting all of the positive indicators we needed to line up. Now, if the blue crosses over the red and we have this twist to the negative and our trailing indicator cuts through everything while we break below this top formation, oh yeah, it's all lining up to confirm that there's some weakness coming in here. And just as a general rule, I take the 50% run from the last move. So whatever the last move was, then I take that as our general rule, and it may come back to this 50% level. It would be beautiful. If it gave us a consolidation here, it would give us another chance to reconsider on a different entry. We wouldn't have to wait for it to come all the way back up to these levels. If it comes down underneath this and gives us a formation, it would be great. If it comes down to these levels and starts to break lower and gives us a top formation, it would be pretty worrisome. So let's see how this unfolds. Let's go on to TRX in the Bollinger Bands. Top formation, it is broken down past the midline here on the 4 hour time frame. Whoops. On the 12 hour time frame, it was getting up above it, a little up above it. Now it's crossed down below it. So this doesn't help me as much. It doesn't, I'm not used to it. I don't know it enough yet. But it doesn't look bullish, that's for sure. One more coin to whip through on this whole routine that we do day after day. If this kind of routine is interesting to you, hit the subscribe button. You'll keep me going. And, okay, I didn't talk about it. Let's go back to the 3-month view of Ripple. So Ripple, of course, has been tearing up. We've got 4 hits off the same level with the RSI, which is pretty normal for the relative strength index in an uptrend. Now, however, that it breaks below these levels at this top formation, we're probably coming back to the 50% level of this one as well. And it wouldn't be surprising. It would be very good, actually, if it were to come back to these levels and give us a stable spot. Let's go to Ripple in the on-balance volume, see what's going on. Still pretty positive. It's only just now starting to turn to a negative dip there on the 12 hour. So I want to zoom into the 4 hour to see that, yeah, it has been a negative divergence of volume across this top, especially as we start treating the entire top with, it really looks like more of a selling divergence. We've had that before. It's not the end of the world yet. And that's why we use our exponential moving averages to help us give an exit point so that we are filtering out some of the spikes on the way up and the way down. We don't want to jump out just because it's spiked. But if it trends and it's changing, we want to know. So here on the 4 hour, this has crossed to the negative before the top has gone. Okay, we see this too many times that it crosses to the negative. Should this stabilize and start to cross to the positive, it could give us something, but not until. And that's the 4 hour time frame. Let's zoom out to the 12 hour. So it's just crossed to the negative. That is even more sketchy. You know, that we've had this trend and it's just breaking. Makes it feel more weak to me at this point. Let's go into Ripple on the Ichimoku cloud. In the 4 hour, it's bounced off the cloud, bounced off the cloud, bounced off the cloud, and it's taking, you know, it could bounce off the cloud and take off from here. I don't know. I keep trying to refresh that chat to make it work on the live stream on the side panel, but no such luck. Anybody has tips on how to get that stream thing to work, I would be grateful. Ripple, here's our top formation, and it's coming down. You know, when we're looking at this, it's crossed the 1, 2, 3 top formation on the 4 hour Bollinger Bands. It's crossed through the midline and it's poking down. I don't know if like the Bollinger Band guys would be buying here and looking to sell here, or just looking to sell on this kind of exhaustion wick, which would make a lot of sense in hindsight. Hindsight is awesome. When we go to the 12 hour time frame, it may not be time to panic on Ripple yet, right? It hasn't crossed the midline even. So this is one of the reasons that when I look at Ripple or any of these other coins, I will pay attention to the exponential moving averages and try to not freak out when there is a pullback that doesn't make my EMAs cross over. So especially the longer term trades, the longer they get, the more profit I have, the more I'll look for the longer term EMAs and hold for those. So if I was fortunate enough to get in out of this little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, certainly a part of my trade, I want to keep it like my stop loss down here and be in it for the long term. I've got a good position. It's not my job anymore. This is up to the market to tell me how much money I'm going to make. If I got in a little bit later, and you know, it depends where I've got in to where I'm going to put my stop. And we didn't finish Ripple yet. Ripple, okay, we did. We saw this cross. Back to this one. Ripple, we saw this. Ripple, we saw this. Okay, we did Ripple. What's going on with Bitcoin dominance? It isn't pretty. Some more strength coming in on Bitcoin dominance. So just enough to wick people in and fake us out, make it think it's going our way, and then bam, back up the other way. So this is the measure of the altcoins topping out and pulling back. This is the overall measure of the altcoins on average as whatever they're doing. So I'm going to bring this out to a 12-hour view and let it load up. And as the alts on average took off and went up here, some of the alts made 200% profit. Some of them made 4,000% profit. Some of them only made a couple 100% profit in this amazing bull run. Others made 1,000%, 2,000%, 4,000% profit in this run. What's the difference between some of them that only made a couple 100% profit and those that made the thousands of percent profit? Well, you could take all of the alts and divide them all up and categorize them. And so which ones are most bullish, which ones went the best, which ones, and you'd find that there's sort of a bell curve where some of the alts, say there was only 200 of them. Some of the alts did really well. They absolutely blasted off and they made the 4,000% gains. Then there was a few less alts that made the 2,000% gains. Then most of the alts made like 200 to 300% gains during that period of time. But there were some pretty sucky ones that only made 50% gains during this most amazing bull run that there was in altcoins so far. And the trick is to know which are the coins that are at this point of the bell curve. The ones that are making the biggest moves from here to here, those are the ones we want to pay attention to. Especially through December of this year and on. So there was a period here where some of the alts made some really nice moves up and then they pulled back until April. Some of them came up later and they took off, and then after April they started breaking down as these prices, as Bitcoin dominance went up. This is the thing that we really strive to narrow down and to qualify in our bull market watch report, to really break it down so that we can see which are the coins that are taking off and should be the ones that we're holding and which ones we should not be holding. So it's easy to go and get this data now, which is the most amazing, powerful, simple, fastest, easiest way to go and look to see what's actually happening. Here we can see which are the coins that went into exit status. We should ease off on those ones. The ones on that bell curve that are doing really well, we're still holding 38 of them. 12 of them are still in alert status. They could be taking off, going higher. Then we have 90 that are in neutral stance. We want to hold back. We don't want to do anything with those. It's like Litecoin. It's just like sideways. Good. We can just watch it, but there's nothing to do with it. We can limit our work down to just these coins, get out of these ones, and we know that we're focusing on like the corner of the market that's doing the best. And we're not spending any time on those other markets. You can get full access to this by going over to intro-to-cryptos.ca, sign up, and you can see exactly which coins should be in your portfolio. No one else provides such an easy way to see exactly which coins should be in your portfolio and which way to know ones should be folding out of your portfolio. So all of this is based on the trading plan that we go through here on this live stream, and you can get as a free download from the main page of the website. But for all of this work that saves you so much time, this is a paid service. And I'm hoping that this live stream attracts hundreds of people to come and join our paid service, because this few hundreds of people are going to be the ones that are holding the right coins and letting go of the right coins at the right time. I made over a $500,000 mistake in my trading, and that's where all of these alerts and all of these spreadsheets all came from, so that I don't want to make those mistakes again. I want to trade this better. And I've been doing so much better since I've been following my own spreadsheet. It's insane. So I hope to have you guys come and join me there as well. So now let me go over and check out the chat, which I haven't done because it's not buried into the live stream properly. I'm trying not to swear. Dean H says, we have an emergency. Bitcoin dominance is breaking out to the upside and the alts are looking like they're topping out. That's just what we're going over today. It is time to pull back on some of those alts, but not all of them. And you don't want to pull back early on these alts. Remember, there are two categories of mistakes that most traders make. You tell me in the chat. Let me know if you've made the first category of mistake that I've made. The first category of mistake is putting on too large of a position at the very beginning of a move. Then it doesn't go your way, right? Oh, this looks so awesome. Doesn't that look like a wicked breakout? It's absolutely going to the moon. I'm putting everything in. The very second it goes the other way, the pissing off the roof formation, the 3 touches of death. I've hit this a few times where I put on too large of a trade. How many people have made that mistake? Say yes in the chat if you've made that mistake. Putting on too large of a trade right at the very beginning. So that's the first category of mistake, and I want you to filter that out by diversifying across the entire portfolio into 38 different coins. Don't FOMO into any one of them. If one goes up or down a lot, it helps you or it hurts you, but very little compared to the overall average. And when the whole average goes, everything's going to go. We have the best of them. This is phenomenal. So that's the first category of mistake. So let me see in the chat if anybody has made this first category of mistake. Nice a day video. Hey Dan, good to have you along. I try to do the 5 a.m. live stream over on the Bitcoin channel, and I do the 3 p.m. live stream here on the crypto channel. The Bitcoin channel is growing. It's getting new subscribers. It's getting lots of views. The altcoin channel, following much the same strategy, is not growing as much. No Jack, low Jack yet. No, usually every day at 3 p.m. I'm trying to be consistent so that we get this data at the same time and you can tune into it. You know it's going to be here. I will check Matic. So On the Edge says, yes, you've made that mistake of putting on too large of a position at the very early part of a trade. Our job, of course, it's easy to say in hindsight, but our job is to protect ourselves from losses. We have X number of dollars. We don't want to go less, right? Warren Buffett says rule number 1 is don't lose money. Warren Buffett's rule number 2 is Don't forget rule number 1. The rest takes care of itself. Don't lose money. So then our stop losses and making sure that we start off with a small position and add on to it when it's is the most important things. That's our job, is to protect ourselves from losing money, taking risk when we should. It is a 1, 2, 3. Maybe we should take the risk, but we have to be ready to protect ourselves. That's our job. Then once the market starts to go, we have a 1, 2, 3 formation. It starts to go up. I may become fearful that the market is going to take away these nice looking profits I have now. You know, these are nice looking paper profits. This is good percentage gain. I'm fearful now that market's going to take this away from me. And what if I had this fear right here and closed my position? Oh shit, it's making the top formation. I'm out. I'm taking my profit. Look at this. I made an X% gain. It's awesome. I'm wonderful. I'm so smart. Fuck. Then the market goes off without you and off without you and off without you. And you're sitting there with your 14% profit feeling happy, and the market's gone up 80% and you're going, oh, if only I'd done nothing, I would have done so much better. So our job is to protect ourselves against losses. It is not our job to make money. And as soon as you can confuse that and you start deciding when you have had enough and you've made enough money, you're doing the market's job. And as soon as you're starting to do the market's job, you're never going to make as much money as you should have or could have. This is the theory. It's part of the turtles trading system as well. So if you've heard of the famous turtle traders experiment or not, go and search it out. Go and search out the famous turtle traders experiment, and you'll get some insight as to kind of why I have this approach, and why, if we are in a choppy sideways market, my approach sucks and it absolutely doesn't work. It's brutal. It sucks. It's no good. So if I go into ADA and look how this has gone sideways, my trading system sucks here. It doesn't do anything. It sucks. It's no good here. We got this breakout formation. You have to be a master trader just to get out of this, knowing in the long term that eventually these bottom formations do work out. Every time they happen, you got to take the risk, but knowing that it's a super risky thing to do. You know, anyway, I'm off track. Wrong button. Back to the chat. Matic. Bitcoin. Matic. So I think that's going to be a pretty repeating theme through all of these right now, is that we've had a bit of a run up and that they're all pulling back. The thing is, the repeating theme is going to be through everything now because Bitcoin dominance is going up. Some of them are going to get punished more than others. So like Ethereum probably is going to get pulled down more than others because it went up more than others. Where the ones that didn't really go up very much at all, they're probably not going to get moved back very much by this move of Bitcoin dominance. Now, we don't know how much this is going to do. We've seen this in the past, and it's not been pretty for us at all. So if I draw out this 3 touches of death before, when it looked like dominance had topped, we have this nice bear flag. It's coming down. It's looking awesome for the alts. The alts are all making bottom formations and setting their way up. They're all starting to look so good. And then off it went again and crushed us down. And so we have to be on defense against that, knowing in the long term, Matic and everything else is going to be suffering big time if this cracks these levels. Like, this is going to be tons of sell orders and things going down to new lows. Then we're going to have a massive capitulation in all of the alts. And then we could see something going the other. Who knows? I don't know. But the thing is to protect ourselves right now. To get ready for it, it's making this formation. We have to get ready. If it's pulling back, we got to start protecting ourselves so that we are not at risk of holding this. Instead, we'd be holding Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going to be going up. So it's time to scale out. We can see which ones to scale out of specifically, and hold the ones that are telling us to hold it, like ZRX. It's still in a great position. Matic, however, has come back. So where is my moving averages? Oh, right there. So the 12 hour, it's still fine, right? If I gotten in out of this consolidation pattern and said, geez, that's looking great, and I got into it before I broke out, I'd have my stop loss above my entry for my own part, and I would not do nothing. I would let it come all the way back to the stop and stop me out here at this little wee bit of profit. And I would do it over and over and over and over and over again. That's my trading plan. So it does suck in some ways. Other people may take a bit of profit now. And maybe you do better. Let's go into Matic in the Bollinger Band. GHIJKL Matic. Okay, so it's crossed below the midline of the 12-hour Bollinger Band. It's tightening up here. It has to, if it starts breaking below that, it might be a time to ease off some of the positions. The 12-hour, if I go into the 4-hour time frame, it's down below, down below, down below. If it crosses above that, I don't want to get out too soon. This is my thing, is that we're at such historical lows that I'm willing to just keep a position here for those longer term things now. Really. And I've said that a year ago too. We don't know. But if it breaks below these levels, yeah, it is a sell signal. It's a top formation. 1, 2, 3 setting up there. Last thing I'll take a look at for Matic here is to go to 1, 2, 3, 4. Matic is below the cloud, and this isn't what I wanted to look at. BTC. Get rid of the favorites. Scroll down 2 times. Matic. LM. This is what I wanted to look at. Where is the MACD? It crossed over pretty solid after that top move up. It moved up pretty quickly, but that topped over right away. The 4-hour topped over right away on this too. So this was a real quick pump that ran out of steam right away. And it's pulled back and gone sideways. Don't know. If this crosses positive, it's going up from here. If it crosses negative, you could scale out a bit. But I would be definitely on the side of holding my stop back low and giving it room to move. It's already proven me correct. It's not my job anymore. I don't want to second guess and overthink this. I definitely want to sit on these kind of trades, especially right now as we're coming out of these formations. So I could definitely be wrong. Bitcoin dominance breaking out positive. Alts are looking bad. I agree. Hey, join our Discord. No Jack Lojack says, awesome. Good to have you. Thank you. What do you reckon about Bitcoin SV? I normally I don't reckon anything about it, but when we were watching Bitcoin and I was zoomed right into the close time frames, I love having Bitcoin in the background like this to see exactly this. Look what happened with Bitcoin SV as Bitcoin's taking off. It's loving it. It's moving right with it. Whereas if I shorten this up so I can find it quickly, go to Ethereum. Thanks for playing. Ethereum's not happy at all here. So we can really see the difference as to which markets are liking it. Litecoin pulled back a little bit. Stellar or Lumens really pulled back. Ripple took a big slap in the mouth there. But Bitcoin Cash kind of moved up with it. And Bitcoin SV as well. So that was pretty interesting to see that. And I also want to look at C that I'm not familiar with. CHZ. Look at this. Taking off. So this is a market that turned into an alert status on the 15th of October in our bull market watch spreadsheet. And on the 16th of October, it turned into a hold status out of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and then the 12-hour exponential moving average crossover. And so you just got to do that with every market that is taking off across all of the markets that are taking it off. Put your stop loss above your entry, and some of them are going to do really well. Some of them are not going to do very well. This one, maybe we could be moving our stops losses up underneath it now that it's moving along with Bitcoin. We could be finding one of these areas for part of our trade as a protective stop. Or for my own part, I would be leaving my stop back and let the market have its room now. And I'm done. I've already done my work. I got the bottom formation. It's in a positive position. Hold my winners. Let it ride. Go and do something else. So I really just wanted to point this market out because it's just matching Bitcoin so well. And there are very few that are matching Bitcoin this way. Dog poo in my home, but to me. Come on, Craig Wright, bring it back to us. Yeah. No offense intended, but I hate when people get scammed. Yeah. Done mistake number 1 too many times. Yes, it's the hardest thing. It's the thing on greed and fear. I wrote a small book to myself back in 2014, and I recently refound it. I reformatted it, and I put it up on Amazon. And it's how to deal with greed and fear in trading Bitcoin. So it starts off teaching a little bit about the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and then there's a small section in the book that really is so important that if you just read it quickly and you go, yeah, of course that's true, you're never going to make it work for you. And you'll always have the problem then. You'll always have that trouble of putting on too large of a trade at the beginning of a position. And I have to remind myself every time I go through the trades, am I doing this right or wrong? If I am greedy at the beginning of a trade, I'm doing it wrong. I'm putting on too large of a position, and then it goes against me, and it's harder to close it because it's a bigger loss. So if I diversify, I do very much better. A little bit of everything, and the ones that are doing good, you hold them. Anyway, the other thing is that the effective traders are fearful at the beginning of their trade, and the ineffective traders are greedy at the beginning of their trade. So if you're getting into that gambling mindset and you find that you're taking lots of small losses, I recommend that you come over and dig into our course a little bit more closely. If you've lost more than our course costs, invest in yourself. Really. Love yourself enough to invest in yourself. It doesn't have to be my course, but there are many courses out there that are going to change the way you're doing it. This is a learnable skill. If you're having trouble and you've been having trouble and you've been having months of trouble and it's a year and a half later and you're having trouble, invest in yourself. Find a course that really tickles your fancy and sit down and do it. It's not enough to know about the stuff. You have to know it so that it becomes habitual. It's practice. It's repetitive so that you believe it enough to last through those dark moments of when the prices are pulling back, right? They're freaking you out and you're shitting your pants and you're still holding anyway because it's in your trading plan. And then it turns out to go, you got to have the belief ahead of time. You got to really know what you're doing and why. And that's why I give away our trading plan on the website. You can go to the homepage and register. Get the trading plan. That's not the stuff I'm trying to sell you. What I'm trying to sell you is all this work that we're doing for you. Bitcoin dominance is only part of the story. We're getting the details of the other part of the story. Saving you time, helping you make money. It's worth it. Of course, I benefit. Got the t-shirt. Awesome. I love my Digital Currency Traders t-shirts. All right, got to learn from the mistakes though. You can. There's 2 ways to learn from mistakes. From your own mistakes, which is the bitterest, right? You're learning from experience. Or you can learn from somebody else's mistakes, which is the most wise way to learn. So go take a course because I can lay out my mistakes in sequence and illuminate you. And as you come up to those stages of the trade and you're more familiar with the mistakes I've made, it may make sense to you. It may help you prevent some of those mistakes. And they're expensive mistakes sometimes, thousands of dollars. Crazy for my own part. So don't learn from your own mistakes. It's the most expensive. Learn from somebody else's. It's far cheaper to take a course, to take 2 courses. What do I think about 20K around May? Is it possible? 20K for Bitcoin. I don't think we'll ever see 20K for Bitcoin again. Just kidding. The only way to really look at Bitcoin, this is to go into the log view over a long period of time. So you can see the regular view chart below this blue background and then the log view chart up above. And if we were to do a log view chart of the growth of iPhones, there may be a point there that people say, wow, iPhones have grown so much. And it's not even the beginning of how their growth curve went. Imagine the first few years of their sales when they only penetrated such a small percentage of the market, right? Of all of the cell phones, of all of the landline phones and everything when iPhones first came out, it took a few years. And then when it did take off, we went through what I call the point of inflection. We've seen the parabolic moves here, but we haven't seen the point of inflection yet. And the point of inflection, if you've done any titrations for acid-base indicators in first year university, or they probably do this stuff in grade 9 or grade 10 now. But you'll add an acid to a buffer solution and you'll measure the acidity of the solution. The buffer uses up the acid and neutralizes the acid. You can keep dropping lots of acid into this buffered solution and the acidity hardly goes up because the buffer is there. But pretty soon you start exhausting that buffer, kind of like we're doing with global warming right now. And the temperature starts to rise, or you're using up the buffer, and the same amount of acidity added to the system now moves the acidity of the entire glass of liquid more. So pretty soon it comes to a point where the buffer is completely run out, and there is a point of inflection where you add one drop of fluid and it goes up that much in the acid balance of the solution because there's no buffer to slow it down. And now you're starting to add a little bit more acid to the solution, and it slowly works its way out to the concentration of the acid that you're actually adding over time. And so we have this logarithmic growth of Bitcoin, and then we're going to have that point of inflection as we go from, 10% adoption to 40% adoption over a very short period of time, as one of the massive financial institutions with millions and tens of millions of customers turns on Bitcoin. So this is where we are right now in this move that we've come up, and this consolidation, this drop back, this consolidation, and that's about where we are in Bitcoin prices right now. So once we hit the $20,000 to $30,000, $35,000 to $40,000, we'll hit that point of inflection, and we're going to go from $40,000 to $90,000, and everybody's going to stop and just go, oh, I can't fucking believe it. But you heard it. You know it. It's here. It's coming. But first, there's going to be some pain because these are manipulated markets, and the little guys are going to get their asses handed to them over and over again. If you are trading on the short-term 15-minute bars, you're already whale food. You are already plankton, and you will get chewed up and spit out. And if you are trading with too large of a position, too big of leverage, you better be a pro, right? If you're going to go into an MMA fight, mixed martial arts in the UFC octagon, it's not a game. You're going to get killed. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So you've got to be a real pro before you step into these things on the 15-minute time frame. Us amateurs can step back a little bit and take smaller positions and let the pros fight it out amongst themselves, and all the automated bots and all of the news and the social media pump and dump and all of those massive groups of crypto things that have 250,000 people. There's too many variables for us to be in the 15-minute bars very often at all. So anyway. eBay goes crypto. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. And it will happen. And so that about wraps it up here for today. We're going over much the same thing, and that is the purpose of it. Where it's not how hard you work at this, it's how consistently you work. It's that little bit every single day. It's like showering every day, shaving every day. You can't shower 7 times on Sunday and stay clean all week. You got to do this analysis every single day, or you miss the important minutes. So I want to do this analysis and record it every single day so that all of us can go back to a specific day and say, what was going on this specific day here? What happened on July the 10th at 10 a.m.? What was the indicator saying? That's the most interesting stuff for me. Boom. I am going to hide user on this channel, Mr. Badcat Bitcoin. And that about wraps it up here. I'm going to go and get ready for the next part of the day. I see Bitcoin up in the top corner over here. We've got the green stuff going on there. That is the significant trades feed. So as that's all green and moving fast like that, that's lots of big moves coming into Bitcoin. So if we zoom into the very minute of Bitcoin, look at this. I love it when we get a trade signal so clean and so clear out of this downtrending parallel channel The very things I talk about day after day after day after day. Then we have them manifest. I put out the alert onto our channel. We've got a nice entry on that. Our stop is above our entry, and we're sitting pretty watching this one now. Beautiful when it all manifests out like this. I am expecting that this is going to be a quick move up to this level, top formation, and then down from there. So let's see what our indicators are telling us as this all unfolds, because I want to watch this, fold and unfold. We've seen it fold this way. Now I want to see it come up here and unfold back the other way. And if it blasts through here and melts through this area like we went through 6100, let's go to the 1 year view and get rid of the log, clean this stuff off. If we go up through this level like we went up through this level, don't hesitate. There's no screwing around. Once it breaks through these levels like that, this is going to be super important, and it'll absolutely change my tune about this coming back. If we come up above this and make a structure, done. We're not coming back below that. It'll be just like we went through here. We'll get this, we'll get a run up. We'll get an ascending pressured thing with our indicators all screaming positive, and whammo, up we're going to go right through it. Just blast straight through. I don't think so yet. I think we're coming back to the 5,800. We'll see. Will we see it continue up from here? I think so. For right now, it is. Right? We already saw the. I like the analogy of being a batting coach. I can coach you when to swing the bat. I can tell you to watch what to watch for in a spinning ball and curve ball and all the things I actually don't know for batting and for playing baseball, right? But if I was a batting coach, I would know how to explain these things to you and tell you what to watch for. But you'll never see a pro out on the batting mound looking over at his batting coach saying, just tell me when to swing, coach. I can hit that ball like you don't believe, man, but you just tell me when to swing. It's never going to work. You know it. By the time I tell you to swing, it's already gone past you. You have to recognize these patterns and know them in advance so that when they come up, you're taking that small action and you can add on to it when it's proven you correct. So I'm super impressed with the number of people who have come to the website over on intro-to-cryptos.ca and put their email address in on the homepage to get the free training, because now we're getting quite a few more people hanging out on the live stream, and everybody in the live stream and over on the Discord chat now already has done the free webinar. Everybody is ahead of the game. They're understanding the 1, 2, 3 formation and the exponential moving average crossovers. We already know what are the difficulties with the 1, 2, 3s, and you're also understanding the 5 stages of the trade. Right now, we help you with the stage 1, identifying the opportunities and preparing. We do that with the bull market watch and with our pro alerts. And we teach you what to do in stage 2 when your alert is first triggered. Stage 3, when you've got enough that you can move your stop loss up. Some philosophy about making money. 2 ways to learn trading lessons, right? You can learn by learning from somebody else or just get beat up yourself. One way or the other, you're going to learn or you're going to quit. Now, after the exit, getting clear on the exit, you need to know your exit before you start the trade, just like an airplane pilot needs to know how to land the plane before they take off on their first solo flight, right? Otherwise, they're not going to have many more flights after that. And we can lose money. It doesn't kill us, whereas a pilot will die if they don't do it right. But it's just as dangerous. I think trading is more dangerous. Imagine if 80% of new pilots crashed and died. How many pilots would there be in the world? How safe would you feel flying? But these skills are just as learnable as a pilot's skills. You hear the guy driving by with the loud muffler. Anyway, I won't heckle him. For now, I'll just let it go. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breaking out. We'll tune in tomorrow to see how this goes. I'll do the 5 a.m. live stream for Bitcoin. We nailed it this morning on this. We were able to catch it just as this was setting up. That was beautiful. Now we'll see tomorrow how this actually pans out. Boom, boom. I'll see you guys over on our Discord chat. Thanks again. I could go on all day, and I do, but over on our Discord chat. Cheers, and thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys being here. It makes it a lot more fun.